Hello everybody and welcome back to Sit and Knit for a Bit on a Sunday.
With Arne and Carlos. And we are, as always, your hosts, Arne and Carlos.
Yeah.
And we are back, surprise! We are back with yet another podcast. We nowadays do these Sit and Knit for a Bit podcasts every other week. And if it's your first time here, full disclosure, Sit and Knit for a Bit means you sit and knit for a bit while we recap whatever is going on here where we live in Norway.
Yeah, because we're not good at multitasking.
Right. And
I brought this one, but I can't do it.
So pretty much you could also sit and quilt for a bit, or you could sit and crochet for a bit, or you can just sit and listen for a bit, have your cup of coffee and enjoy yourself. But we are not going to be knitting while we do the podcast because, as Arne said, we are horrible multitaskers and I'm the worst of the two of us.
But we do have some tutorials, like I don't know what we have next Sunday, but
next Sunday we're going to the supermarket to show everybody.
Oh yeah, because we had these good suggestions from one of our members that said, why don't you go to the supermarket? So we've been in the supermarket.
Yeah, so you'll have to enjoy
some fun food.
You get to enjoy the Norwegian supermarket and all the weird food that we eat. And you'll get to see that next week. Anyway, back to Sit and Knit for a bit. If you're new here, we started during the pandemic when we were all under lockdown, and it was our way to connect with people during a very hard time. And we do travel a lot because we are also knitting designers. We make designs for Rowan.
And for our web shop.
And for our web shop and for Regia. So we've been traveling a lot. And after the pandemic, everywhere we go, people do come up to us and tell us that we were quite important to them during the pandemic, and we're very glad that we were able to connect with so many people at the time. And actually, people come up and tell us that we helped them a lot during the pandemic, but it actually goes both ways. You guys all helped us too. We felt we
had something to do every day,
and
we knew there were people out there watching.
Yeah, and it felt like a really nice community, very inclusive and pretty nice. And here we are. 4 years later, still doing our podcast. Actually, in case you don't know who we are Arne and Carlos. We originally started in the fashion industry. We're designers. We are product designers originally. Did a lot of collections, both in woven fabrics, and then started a knitwear line that was supplied to stores all over the world.
And that was long before internet and YouTube.
Yeah.
It was in 2002.
Yeah, 2002 we did our first collection.
So that's 22 years ago.
And then after we left the fashion industry, we went into the this crafts industry. We started by doing 10 books. We haven't done a book since 2017, but we have published 10 books on knitting and
we had
crochet.
one book last year in the Netherlands.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A Christmas ball book in the Netherlands. I think that will be in German next year.
In this year, it's coming in German and in English. That's true, yeah.
Yes,
so we did that for a while, and then we founded our YouTube channel in December of 2015. So next year, our YouTube channel is celebrating 10 years.
So there will be a lot of champagne and...
Yeah, champagne for everyone. That'll be a celebration.
There's a party every day. No, not really. We don't have time for that.
No, we don't. And in addition to all of this, we also do our travel. We love traveling. So anyway, we're not going to do any knitting here, like that, because we can't multitask. But we do talk about knitting. We talk about crochet. We talk about quilting and fabrics. We are launching a collection with Louis and Irene this year. So we're very much into that and talking about the fabrics.
And that is I think that is so fun. I find it so interesting to do the designs because like 20 years ago, we just bought fabric.
Yeah.
This time we design fabric.
Yeah, right.
It's so different. Yeah. And it's a really nice thing.
So today we're going to talk about a crochet project that we're doing. We're going to talk about our fabrics again and what we've been doing with them. And we've got a new idea for a quilt that we want to do. So we're going to talk about that as well. So there's plenty to talk about. And also, in case you don't know us that well, we also love traveling. And we've been organizing knitting cruises in Norway since 2018.
Yeah.
We go on the Norwegian Coastal Express, Hurtigruten. That's a government-funded ship. Which stops in 34 ports in Norway. And this ship connects the north and the south. It is actually vital for people because it's transportation, it's a ferry, it's the mail boat. They also carry cargo, and it's a cruise ship. So it's like all of that in one. And they're quite small. They're very intimate. The one that we did in March, the quilting cruise, was on the Havila ship, which is about 400 passengers when the ship is full. And the one we did before that, the North Cape Express, which was on the Hurtigruten, was also about the same size. So very nice little
I don't know how you
ships.
remember which boat we were on. I think we traveled so much. I
We
can't
do,
even
yeah.
remember.
That's true, yeah.
So you said first time was this year was in Hurtigruten. The second was
Havila, the quilting cruise.
And then we haven't done any cruises after that.
No, but we did a garden tour. So
and
we
a garden
do
tour in England.
right. We do garden tours as well as knitting.
And we done
trips.
a tour in America.
Yeah, that's true. We were in the US,
California and
Nevada. We did that in April.
And we're coming back next year.
Yeah. So lots of traveling. Lots of people wonder what happens in these knitting cruises, and
You knit.
You knit. So let's tell you a little bit.
Well, not everybody knit. There are some what do you call it? Spouses who watch birds or go fishing or do excursions or just look at the view and read books.
Yeah.
And some of them actually start knitting after a while.
Which is fun. It's fun.
That is fun.
So what we do is, so it's a very interactive trip because the ship stops at 34 ports, and each port has at least 3 yarn stores, really. So and if there are no yarn stores, you can always rest assured that you go to the supermarket in a little town where the ship stops and you get your yarn. So it's a very interactive trip. People are usually very busy getting on and off because it runs like a bus pretty much.
And there's some good thrifting also.
There's good thrifting to be done as well. So we're not in the ship all the time. People get on and off, and actually people travel as well. So if you're not on the cruise, which we are usually, you may be a local living in A and then getting to B, and maybe the ship is the only way you can get there because the north is not very populated as the south is. No. So anyway, people get on and off a lot. So that's one of the things. And because of that, what we devised is this mystery knit along that we reveal on the day of arrival.
So it's not a mystery for very long.
No, and it's a kit. We've got a kit.
Actually, we had it once. Once we had a mystery, and there was a big discussion. Is it a pillow? Is it a
skirt?
Is
tube
it
top?
A tube top? And it was a what do you call
cowl.
it? A cowl.
Yeah.
But now we do other things.
Yeah. And usually people get the kit in the beginning of the trip, and the idea is everybody knits with that and does that yarn thing, and then we're there to
because we do 2 lectures normally, and then we're always around. So if you need help or some tips, we're always around.
Yeah, and then
so
people
there's nowhere to go.
Right, and then people congregate in the Panorama Lounge, which is a beautiful lounge with floor-to-ceiling windows on the top floor. Everybody hangs out there with their knitting, and we're there as well. And we're, talking to people, and we're getting them all started, and if they need help and all that. And then, of course, every day, stopping somewhere beautiful, getting off to enjoy the beautiful town, some amazing nature, or an excursion or a yarn shop. So
and now we do what you call that, the Top of the World and the North Cape Express. We have planned now to do more workshops because we have a few days we're out in the open ocean, the sea, and we get a little bit restless when we're in the sea because there's not much to see if there's not a whale or some interesting birds coming, but we're going to do more workshops. We have planned.
But these are the other
cruises.
So we
not
do
the North Cape, nor the up and down the fjord.
Yeah, so we do the regular Coastal Express, which is 34 stops. It stops 4 times a day.
And that won't change.
That won't change. But then we do the expedition trips, and when we go from Svalbard to northern Iceland, and there's 2 days at sea. Obviously, you have to do.
It's time to do something. So we're going to do more next time.
Anyway, we have a lot of fun doing these trips. We meet a lot of fantastic people, and the groups are quite small. We don't take anything more than 30 knitters. It's quite special.
Yeah, because we I think the first time we were more people.
Yeah, and that we didn't like it.
Split the group in 2, and you shouldn't be more because
we need to get to know everyone.
We need to have time to know everybody if they want to. If they don't want to have privacy, there's sometimes that happens that people just want to be quiet and maybe with their spouses or something. But we try to get to know everybody, and that is very nice because on the last garden tour, when we had the garden tour to England, it was just like a class reunion or
family reunion.
Family
really.
reunion because we knew everyone.
Everybody has been on our trips before, and they just come back all the time. But yeah, so we do 30 knitters and 10 spouses maximum. So 40 is the maximum that we do, but 30 knitters. You know, we want to spend our time with the knitters. We love spending our time with the spouses as well, but the spouses don't really require much of us. The knitters might need our help, so we need to be there. And the spouses are actually pretty entertained by other things. But as Arne says, it happens very often that the spouses who don't knit actually end up with the group, and people are there teaching them to knit. So it's a very, tight-knit
But it's always nice
community on board.
We have so many interests. We don't have to talk about knitting all the time.
No.
We can talk about anything. So sometimes you have people with family in Norway, and then we can do some genealogy on the ship. And we have people who are interested in music or antiques or...
Yeah, there's all sorts of interesting people to talk to. So yeah, these trips are a lot of fun, and you can read more about them if you're interested. Just go to arnecarlos.com and select journeys, and you can read more about what they are like. But it's not a big cruise ship with thousands of passengers. These are very small ships. They are subsidized by the Norwegian government, and they're used for more than just cruising. It's more sustainable, and these ships are actually very modern, and they actually some of them run on battery power, so that they're not polluting as much as other ships would. It's very interesting. So check out Journeys on our website if you want to learn more about these trips. And there is a list. You can, contact us through our website to get on the Journeys list, and then you'll be notified when we open up one of these pretty spectacular cruises.
Yeah. And this week, today, it's been Christmas here. It's been like Christmas.
Yeah, we are working Christmas right now.
Yeah, and we ordered some vinyl records, and they came today.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy
because
we got this one, Dolly Parton, Home for Christmas.
In vinyl. Because you have this one on CD.
But CD is not so good anymore. You put it on the CD and they just jump. And some of the vinyl records I gave some of them away because I believed that the CDs were such a good thing.
Yeah.
I think you did probably.
Well, everybody, when the CD came, that was new and amazing, and now the CD is no longer here. So, it was a temporary fad, but it's perfect to listen to this kind of Christmas music because right now we are designing our Christmas fabric collection for Louis and Irene. So we need to get in the Christmas spirit.
And soon is Christmas in July.
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
So now we're like, and this one, I found this one in a vintage or a second-hand vinyl store in Oslo, and it costs in euro, it's around 80 euro or 90, and in dollars around 90.
Maybe,
and buy it new is around 30 or 40.
Yeah, the new price was 30.
The new one. So this is very good.
That's very good.
And then, since we were at it, I also had to order this one, the new Beyoncé.
Yeah, because it's got Jolene by Dolly Parton.
It's her version of Jolene, and
actually it's a very good record.
This is a good record. I have to take the plastic off because it's so shiny. Yeah. And you play this a lot on your own Sonos.
On Spotify, yeah. I like this record quite a lot, so I've been actually playing it a lot. And now we'll get to hear it on vinyl, which is what we really like.
And I have to say, her version of Jolene is very different from Jolene, Dolly Parton's Jolene, but Dolly Parton is on the record. She's talking here somewhere.
Yeah.
So, and look, when it's vinyl, it's so...
Yeah, there's a nice smell. Yeah, the smell of vinyl. Yeah.
And there's also a song, a Beatles song, which is actually very good with Beyoncé, and there's a group of ladies singing with her.
And isn't there Smokey? What's this called again? No, what's his name? Smokey.
No, Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson, that's the way. I don't know. Oh yeah, because I'm seeing all the smoke here. That's why I'm. Yeah.
Yeah, but what's the song from Beatles?
I don't know.
I think it's Let It Be.
No, it's not Let It Be. Not at all.
Where can you find the songs?
They're not there for some bizarre reason.
Okay, you just have to listen to the record.
Yeah, but there's a Beatles song,
what's
there's a
coming.
Dolly Parton song, and Willie Nelson is in it as well.
Yeah.
So
This is a very good one.
it's pretty cool. So about going back to traveling, this was a little detour. We were going to talk a little bit more about traveling before you started with the records, Arne. We were in Bodø last week on a private trip. It was had nothing to do with our work, but we got invited by the Queen Sonja Print Award Foundation. The foundation invited Arne and myself to go to Bodø and spend 3 days up there with the Queen of Norway and her, specially invited guests to celebrate the art of printmaking, which the Queen is very.
And that was nice.
She really has a passion for printmaking and has become a renowned artist as well, which is quite unusual for a queen. And we were fortunate enough to have been invited, so we went up to Bodø and we did the whole thing.
The opening of the art
from
exhibition.
From the opening of the exhibition to the prize. So she gave away. She awarded 3 prizes for one emerging emerging artist, one who got the Queen Sonja Print Award, and one who got the emerging one is the Inspirational Award. The Queen Sonja Inspirational Award, then you have the Queen Sonja Print Award, and then the Queen Sonja Lifetime Award, which went to Anselm Kiefer. And we had a spectacular time there in beautiful Bodø. They've just opened a new hotel called the Wood Hotel that is located in a spectacular, amazing location.
It was a very nice, you had a very nice view over the Bodø, the city, and the fjords and the ocean and the islands. You even saw over to Lofoten.
Yeah,
it was really beautiful.
Very, very
it was
beautiful.
A little bit off, so we had to walk.
Yeah, location-wise, it's a little bit outside of town, but it was beautiful.
But we walked a lot, and that was good.
And the reason why the Queen Sonja Print Award Foundation selected Bodø, in collaboration with the Queen or in conferring with the Queen, is because Bodø is the cultural capital of Europe in 2024. So there's a lot of things happening there. We had a really nice time. We were invited to all the events, and the Queen was at all the events. And Her Majesty even came up to us and said that it was nice that we were there.
We haven't seen her in 14 years.
14 years, yeah.
Last time we saw her was during a dinner when we got this diploma and a gold medal from the Arts and Crafts Society because of the way we were spreading Norwegian culture
in Europe
in the
world,
kind of. And she remembered us, so that was nice.
Well, we did spend 3 hours with her at her table, talking to her about all sorts of things. So I'm very glad that she remembered us. And it was not. I mean, she goes through the guest list, obviously, so she knew we were there.
Her work.
So if she had forgotten us, I'm sure somebody reminded her.
So
she is the Queen after all.
And we had a very interesting last day because there was this seminar, or what you call it?
A really interesting seminar.
Interesting. They talked about different art.
Yeah. So
artists.
I have to say, after spending all this time there and talking to a lot of interesting people, we spoke to a lot of artists that were invited. And we spoke with people that, they're curators at museums. They work at the organization for printmaking in different countries. There was the one that was from the Norwegian Printmaking Association, but also the guy from the British Printmaking Association was there. And it was very interesting. We learned a lot about the art of printmaking. And it's becoming a fascinating thing to learn more of. It's not like you press a button in a printer and it comes out. It's actually more than that.
It'd be like, when I went to arts and crafts school in the 80s, printing was one of the things we had to do. But we did only the linoleum. What's that in English?
Linoleum?
It's like you carve the picture and then you print it.
Yeah.
We did that in school and that was kind of funny. And then I remember I tried it sometimes in the early 90s where you put different fabrics like crochet pieces and lace and mix that with the linoleum.
Yeah.
And I remember I bought this press for clothes. You have the electric one.
Yes, I do.
But I think we have the old one somewhere. The one you do by hand.
Yeah.
I bought that in a thrift store because I was thinking, oh, this is something I can do more of.
Yeah.
But it stopped.
There's all sorts of way you can print. You can also print, colors on layers. You can use wood blocks. You can use stone. Yeah, I mean, and we're learning a lot, and it's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So we hope that we behaved. We were actually also invited to the gala dinner, black tie. And we hope that we behaved very well, that we get invited again, because it would be nice to go again.
And I think we should look more into this thing, because I talked to the lady who's she was like the boss of the Norwegian.
Yeah, she's the chairman of the Norwegian Print Makers Association.
Yeah. And I talked to her about the ideas. I don't want to talk about the ideas on YouTube because it's a good idea.
But Arne has good ideas.
I have some good ideas, and I talked to her about the possibility of doing these things, and she found it very interesting. But I think this is something we have to look more into, and we're not gonna announce everything until it's ready. But it's a new world for us.
It's a new world.
Which is interesting.
It was a very inspirational weekend, and actually a couple of days ago we bought a few prints as well. Our first, I mean, we have actually no, it's not our first. I'm looking at 4 Japanese. I'm looking at 4 Japanese woodblock prints that are hanging on the wall.
You have 4.
Yeah, I inherited them. From a great aunt who bought them in Japan in the 1920s. So yeah, we do have 4 Japanese prints, and then we do have a few antique prints. We have a lot of antique prints of chicken because we love chicken. We used to have chicken. I think
they are from books.
They're from books, but they're prints anyway.
Prints, yeah.
But yeah, we bought our first prints, art, which is nice.
Oh no, we have how many did we get in Como?
Well, but those are antique.
Are also from a book.
Those are antique prints, but they're antique. They're not. I mean,
it's not printed like the art are printed.
Yes, they are.
They are.
Yes.
Okay. I thought
they're hand printed, the ones we have from Como. But I still think that the ones from Como, they have pictures of Como on them. But now we bought art, more abstract, more interesting kinds of things, more modern, that we're very much looking forward to.
And we do need something behind glass.
For the kitchen, yeah.
For the kitchen. So.
Yeah.
Tick.
Yeah, check. Anyway, going to Bodø, spending days learning something new, talking to a lot of interesting people. That actually helps us in our design work, even if it's not related, because we kind of develop ourselves. It's about self development and becoming better at what we do. And it's nice looking at all these different disciplines that don't really have anything to do, because we work with textiles. That's what we do. We work with fabrics. We work with yarns. But it's still a lot of times when we when we need to.
But this is
how
we
ideas.
Always have worked.
Yes.
Because even when in the fashion industry, when we did collections. We didn't always look at fashion. You never look at fashion for inspiration. You went to the galleries. You looked at architecture, art. Music. There was so much going on in the world that influenced your work.
Right.
So we didn't look at what other designers did for inspiration, but we looked at the catwalk shows from the big designers when they came.
Yeah.
But we didn't look there for inspiration.
Yeah, and then the prints that we bought, we may actually use them for inspiration for future work. It could be anything from shapes to colors, right? So they're very useful. So we actually, I mean, it's nice. They're prints. They're not very expensive, and they were in an edition of 36, so 1 out of 36. I don't think we have number 1. We have maybe number 8 or something. But it's a nice little start to something interesting, I think.
Yeah.
So it was very enjoyable. Also, we got to we got reunited with a very old friend who we met. Well, not really.
We're not real friends, but we met in the elevator.
Yeah.
Once.
So this is northern Norway's most.
One of the most.
One of the most well-loved artists. Her name is Kari, as you can see. Kari Bremnes. She is a northern Norwegian artist. She sings what we call viser, which are it's songs that kind of tell stories. Music is very beautiful, and she's fantastic. She's got a beautiful voice. And whenever we hear her music, we always think of the north of our country.
So, and I told her that we were now trying to get all the vinyl, and some of the CDs, we're changing them with vinyl because, of course, as I said, vinyl is jumping. It's not as good. So this is the artwork.
So we have a funny story about Kari. The first time we met her was in 2010 when our Christmas ball book. We did a book on Christmas balls. The book became an immediate bestseller in Norway. It went straight into #1 and was there for 44 weeks on the non-fiction list. And because of this, we were very much in demand in the media that year. So the very first interview that we did in connection with our Christmas ball book was for the Norwegian radio. So the Norwegian Broadcasting Corporation for radio. A very popular program called Ni Timen, which means the 9 hours. So it starts at 9, which is 2 hours actually. It goes from 9 to 11.
Before it was from 9 to 10.
Yeah, but now it's 9 to 11, but it's still called Ni Timen. And we were at NRK, which is the Broadcasting Corporation. We got stuck in the elevator with her. She was going to promote her CD. We were going to, start promoting our book. And we had a wonderful time in the elevator. We exchanged books and CDs. So she signed us a CD, we signed her a book. And then we went up to, we finally got up to the place where we were in the waiting room together, spent a lovely time. Then she did her interview and then we did ours. I don't remember who was first, but it doesn't matter. And it was really nice. And then we heard on the radio the same year at some point that she'd been touring. And she'd really loved the knitting book, the Christmas ball books. So she'd spent hours in her dressing room from location to location knitting balls.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
And she performed. So we went to the Queen Sonja Print Award ceremony, and Kari Bremnes performed there. And afterwards, she was invited to the VIP, the black tie dinner.
Yeah.
So we went up to her, and she didn't recognize us at first because we were so dressed up. All black and white, which we never wear.
No. And if you see one of us, then...
Yeah, but we actually came up to her, but it took her like 3 seconds and then she recognized us. And we did have a good laugh about...
and I told her that we were working on changing out all the CDs we have with her with vinyl, and also getting the new vinyl, because when we were building this cottage up in Lofoten, which we now have sold, the plan was to have the vinyl record there.
Yeah.
And we should listen to Mari Boine listening to her music.
Kari Bremnes.
Kari Bremnes, and looking over the fjords.
Yeah.
As I said Mari Boine because we met
Mari Boine. So anyway, Kari Bremnes is a very, very important Norwegian singer from the north who sings in Norwegian, and her songs are stories about the north, pretty much. That's what I think is the best way to explain what a vise song it is. She sings stories, and when you hear her music, I mean, at least we always get transported to the north of Norway, which is a place in our country that we truly love. We love the north of our country.
And she also has she performed one song called, I think it's called Skrik.
Yeah, the Scream.
And it's based on what Edvard Munch wrote
about the painting.
He wrote something about what he saw
what he saw in the sky
before he painted the Scream. And that is actually a whole record based on Edvard Munch, and I saw now that it's out on vinyl.
Yeah,
it has only been on CDs.
Yeah, so she's taken. So this is not about the north of Norway.
This is Edvard Munch,
but
she's
Norway. Taking his texts and made them into songs, which is quite cool.
And now you can actually get it on vinyl.
Yeah.
So that's something we have to get.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And another performer at the gala, at the Prize Award. The award is somebody that we'd never met before, but we've always wanted to meet. I mean, if Kari Bremnes is kind of like the queen of the north in terms of her music, Mari Boine, who is a Sami artist, I would say that she is probably one of the greatest artists that we have in the Nordics. So I'm including Finland, Sweden, Norway, Iceland, and Denmark. She is a phenomenal. Sorry,
she's that queen.
She's a phenomenal world artist, and she's in the world music scene with her Sami music. She is spectacular, and we met her at the dinner. Actually, you were sitting with her.
Yeah, and
you were sitting in front of her, or
in front of her.
Yeah.
And she performed. I think it was Gula Gula.
Yeah. Elle. She performed
no,
Elle.
Elle was it maybe? Because this is one of her records, so check out that name, Mari Boine.
Yeah.
And
you can see from the image, you know, that she's a Sami.
That's the Sami
artist wearing some Sami folk costume and just
And
being fabulous.
I just told her that I had this one. It looks like this on the inside, so it's new now.
Yeah.
I just got this one because I had this one on CD and it doesn't work anymore. And I ordered the vinyl now, but it has 2 covers.
Yeah.
But this is a really good.
She sings in the Sami language, which means Kari Bremnes sings in Norwegian. We understand her songs and what they're about. Mari Boine sings in Sami, which means we don't understand, but with
you don't
her
need
music,
to understand it
exactly,
because it comes from somewhere inside
her.
It's really strong.
And it touches the soul of everybody. So when she sings, you don't need to understand it, what she's singing, to understand the song. And I have to say
I told her that.
You did tell her that, yeah.
It is like I didn't understand a word, but oh my God!
But her
so
performance at the award was so moving that I cried.
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
You even noticed I was trying to wipe out my tears discreetly, but it was very touching and very moving. And her music really is. It really comes from her soul, and she's a beautiful soul. That's for sure.
And she's a very beautiful person.
And a beautiful person.
So we got a new best friend.
We did, yes.
So I said you have to come to our house.
We're making
a guest room.
What was the coolest thing was she was sitting in front of Arne, and at some point she got restless, and she got up and she left, and then she saw that whoever was sitting next to me was in the toilet. So she came and she sat down. And she started talking to me as if she knew me my whole life, which actually confused me because I was thinking, have we actually met her? Have we met her and I'd forgotten about it? But then I realized that she'd been sitting with Arne and that Arne had been telling her
we talked about you.
Everything about me. So it was quite funny. But yeah, she became our new best friend. And she loves the idea. We've made insect hotels for the bees, so that they can overwinter. Because we really need the insects in our garden. Without the insects, no garden. So that's the way it is. And she really loved the idea. So she wants to come and see the insects. Yeah. And she also invited us to her now sold-out concert at the Opera in Oslo. She's got 2 concerts. They're sold out. But she has some VIP tickets. Unfortunately, we're going to be on a knitting cruise, so we won't be able to. But she tours quite a lot. Yeah. She's very active. She said she'll continue at this pace until she drops dead, which is probably what we'll do.
But you know
as well.
What we can do? We can go to the bar in the cruise ship and ask them to put on some Mari Boine while we are knitting.
Yeah, we could.
We did that with Kari Bremnes once. You remember?
We did, yeah.
They played.
Well, when you're cruising the north of Norway, it's kind of very suitable.
Yeah, you need to have that
to listen to Kari Bremnes.
Yeah, and the further north, you need Mari Boine.
So anyway, 2 fantastic Norwegian performers. We've got the amazing Mari Boine, Sami artist originally, sings in Sami and is a world artist and probably one of the greatest that we have in the Nordics. And then we have the wonderful Kari Bremnes, who sings about the north and is just fantastic. So check them out on Spotify.
It's really nice.
It is, yeah. So anyway, that's our little side trip to Bodø that we thought we'd share with you guys.
And we did some thrifting in Bodø.
We did, yes, we did.
Because we went down to the store we always go to, and we haven't bought much there. I bought some cufflinks. 2 times I bought cufflinks there. On the cruises, but we have this quilting idea where we're going to do a very old-fashioned quilt with the log cabin. We're thinking
of doing a log cabin quilt where half of the blocks are in a darker shade of colors, and then the other half of the blocks are in lighter shade of colors, so that it creates a really nice kind of pattern with light and dark. And we want to work with some shiny fabrics.
Yeah, we're going to add fabric from our collection and from scraps and other collections and mix the shiny fabrics. It could even be like fabric for lining.
Yeah.
To make it look old-fashioned. And I guess we're going to show some when we start, but we haven't started yet. We just we went to the thrift store in Bodø and we bought ties because these fabrics are actually
amazing.
I mean,
look, yeah.
And when you open these and you can make the strips, you can get quite a few strips from a tie. And it's not expensive.
And these were cheap.
Yeah.
They're like very cheap. This is what is really beautiful. Look at this for a quilt. So, and then we've got...
if they're too nice, we probably keep them, but we hardly use ties.
Yeah, we have a lot of ties of our own as well.
Yeah, but this was like 20 kroner each.
Yeah, like $2.
And I looked at the bag with scraps, and that was more expensive.
Pretty nice
actually.
too.
And so we got these 4 colors.
So, you know, you can actually put them together quite nicely. Already here, you've got a really nice...
So this, but this is something that will take time because this...
Yeah.
We have to, because we just have to see what we have in our scraps and what we can find and just start to collect the fabrics.
Yeah.
And
we like the idea. We like the idea of repurposing, you know, things and making them into something new. So I don't think that in the beginning of this project that we're going to be cutting up these ties. We're just going to buy them.
We never use tie. We never use tie.
Well, we do. When we need to wear a suit, we wear a tie. But we have a lot of our own ties.
Yeah.
So the ones that I don't want to cut. So so I think that this is a good idea. What we'll do is we'll just store them, and then once we start getting you know, a quantity, we'll start looking into cutting them and starting the log cabin.
Mixing them up.
Yeah. It's a simple idea. Somehow, I mean, we've been designing these cotton fabrics for Louis and Irene, and they're very nice cotton fabrics. And most of what you can get for quilting is in cotton, but we want to have a little bit of that shiny effect.
And also like
that silk kind of feeling.
The old-fashioned look.
Yeah.
When quilting was recycling.
Yeah.
Because when people use scraps and
Correct.
clothes that were worn out, like they didn't go and buy fabric for the quilting.
No.
They took what they had. Like I remember I did the quilt when I went to fashion school. That was in 93 or 90 something, maybe 93 or 94. And I did the quilt just with squares of all the scraps, because when you went to fashion school, you had to get so much fabric for like samples. And all those samples I made a quilt. But this was just squares. We had it up in the bathroom for a long time, but it's worn out, so...
But we're gonna mix
holes.
Yeah.
But then my father said that my great grandmother, she was quilting, and she did only one style, and that was like triangles that she put together, like one this way
very nice
and one that way. So that's something we could try also, because that's probably something very old.
Yeah. So we're gonna be recycling ties, shirts, you know, and then mix it with new fabrics that we buy when they fit in. And, you know, that make a mashup of all of that into a quilt.
I think that would be nice.
A nice log cabin quilt. And then, as I said, there's going to be a structure in it. There's going to be a plan, because each square is going to be a triangle where half of it is in dark and the other half is light. And then they're going to be put together in a way that you then get these romps.
Yeah. And also like thin strips.
Yeah.
Because we had one pillow and I took it apart. It was like almost 3 centimeter wide fabric, and we don't use it anymore. So I just took the fabric out and we're gonna cut them smaller. So this will be a fun project, but this is like one of 100 quilts.
It's in the start phase. It's, you know, we've discussed the idea. We're going to collaborate on it. So we're going to work together. The biggest job here is going to be actually to find the fabrics and then to put them right. So it's the question.
That's the big job.
It's the question of, you know, is this going to be part of the light or the dark? You know, that's kind of like the how are we going to put these together and what colors are we going to use. And this is going to be an organic process too,
Yeah,
because
and it has
we
to
need
take time.
Yeah, we need to have more ties. We need to have more of other kinds of fabrics before we can start putting them together. So
and there's another thing. We can't just start to sew them together, because you can end up with this one in just one place.
Yeah.
So you get the blub of colors just one place. That's like a huge design mistake.
Yeah, so we
If
need
that
to
happened,
we
we
need
have
to
to spread it out.
You're right. So what we need to do is we need to create a system. And the way we're going to create the system is, first we're going to collect the material, and then when we have enough material that we can start building these blocks, we're going to start sorting them in two different piles. So one pile is going to be the light pile, the other is going to be the dark pile.
Yeah, and then you can also some things are in between.
Right.
So
yeah.
so that's also fun to figure out. But you see, this could a black pile and a light pile. So these two are very clear.
Or they can actually both go in the dark pile.
This could go in the black.
This can actually go in the dark pile depending on what you're using as the light fabrics.
Yeah.
So and how you use it. Because once you've determined that these are going to be the ones I use for half the light block, and these are going to be the ones I use for half of the dark block, you need to figure out how to put them together, and then you have to create a new system. So with the colors. And I think that we're going to probably work on it very instinctively, but we're going to be working on it purposely, knowing what it is we want to achieve. So there's not really going to be, it's not going to be like a set of rules. We're going to break those rules as well, because it's fun to give things a little twist.
So,
but yeah, you see
I'm looking forward to
I would put that.
You see, like this is the tie with our fabric,
and I would put that in the dark side. I think.
But it depends on what the other colors are.
Yeah.
But you see, it works together.
It works, yeah.
So this will be so fun when we do this. You could probably even put, no, this will be too light maybe.
Yeah.
But they go together.
They do, yeah.
So this is a very fun project, but since we're now organizing the studio and we're making it a new workroom for me, I have to be very organized.
Yeah, you
so
do.
We're going to have to put all the projects in boxes and just take them in when we work with them, because now I have hundreds of projects in the same room.
Yeah.
And I go from one project to the other, and you forget what you do.
You do,
You find things, and so I think I'm just going to organize them in the big house and pick it up when I need it.
Yeah. So this is going into storage now.
This is storage,
and it's a good start to what I think will be a very fun project.
I think it will be nice, but it will take a long time.
It will, yeah. So we've been working on these fabrics for Louis and Irene, and Arne just showed you a little scrap. It's called Norwegian Forest Dream, and it's inspired by a Norwegian forest with magpies, cloudberry flowers. It's got little pine cones, ferns, and all sorts of
And
lingonberries and all sorts of different things. And yeah, we've been having fun because Louis and Irene finally sent us the fabric. We haven't had it.
It's not the right fabric, but it's the first prototype.
It's the first prototype. The real fabric will launch, will be available from September. And if you're interested in getting this fabric, we encourage you to contact your favorite quilt store and tell them to get the Louis and Irene, the Arne and Carlos Louis and Irene fabric to their store. They have distribution in the US, so the fabrics will be available there. They also have distribution in Canada. I'm sure they have distribution in Australia and New Zealand.
And also in Europe.
And they're in Europe as well.
In Norway, I went to the quilt store in Bodø, not this time, but another time, and she had some of the old fabrics we made, and she also said that she could order this.
And it's not up to us. We can't decide that you, as a fabric, are going to get the fabric. The store decides. And one of the best ways to ensure that you can get it is to contact them and ask them to bring it in. So we're actually encouraging you to do it. And we've got a couple of fun projects we want to show you, which we've done with the Luce and Irene fabric.
So we've been working on hexagons with the magpie. But the plan was, I was thinking I should have the big one on each, but we didn't have that much fabric. So there's 3 big magpies and 3 small magpies, and then
I like that.
Yeah, I think it's nice. And then in the center, it's what you call that? A handkerchief.
It's Chinese handkerchief.
Or
yes.
no, this is, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
I think there's Chinese actually.
So this is the first hexagon we did with our fabric. And you know what I like is when you do the hexagons first, you have all these scraps for crazy quilts.
Yeah.
And we did a video on crazy quilt. When is that coming?
Well, this is going to come. So you're getting a preview now. So this video, we actually recorded a full video of Arne and I collaborating on a crazy quilt, talking about how we choose the fabrics, how we choose the colors, how we want it to look, what the final look is, and we wanted it to fit in. So we already had 3 squares that were done with vintage fabrics, and then we did the 4th square with non-vintage fabrics, but we wanted them to fit in. So you have that to look forward to in September. I think we're going to air the video, but here is the result of the patch of the square that we did in this crazy quilt. And as you can see, it's got our fabric here, and then the purple one is also ours, and this pinecone fabric here belongs to the same collection, and we've got a little, I think there's more. Yeah, there is. Yeah, here. There's another. This is also from the Lewis and Irene collection, and this is what the quilt, the crazy quilt, ended up looking like. And I think we did a good job matching it to the old.
And if you watch the video, you will see why, or there's this plan here.
Yeah.
So you will see that in the video. But you see, the good thing now with this is that after all the hexagons, I can still take more hexagons out here for another one, but this goes in the crazy quilt. So there is hardly no scraps.
Yeah.
And I like that. This one, we probably don't use. It's very tiny. But I like that. You do the hexagons first, and then you can do the crazy quilt.
Yeah.
If you do the log cabin, it's just straight lines, so there's not so much scraps. But for the hexagon, there's a lot of scraps.
And then we got a lot of hexagons here that we're not going to show you guys because we did an episode. We've recorded an episode where we go through all the work in progress things that we have, where we'll show these hexagons.
We got this from our friend.
Oh yeah. And you can look forward to seeing this video in September. So when we come back from our vacation, we will air the video of the hexagons. So we only showed you this one because we actually you finished this yesterday.
That was yesterday.
And we hadn't done this one.
We haven't used our fabric.
We hadn't done it for the video.
We have used, but not the magpie.
For the video that we're going to show in September.
Yeah, that's new.
There was no anything like that.
No. So, but we got this from our friend Joanne, and these are so cute. And look at how this person had worked with the fabric to make patterns.
Yeah.
And look, also the gingham. This is what I like when you take the fabric and you do new patterns.
Yeah.
And what is so nice, this is actually, the paper is all
beautiful
letters.
All letters.
So, but these are, I think we have this punch machine who can make hexagons this size, but I think these go into the scrapbook.
I love that little fabric inside. It is so cute. Just, a little white with a pop of blue. Yeah. I mean, how beautiful is that?
But I think these just go in one of our scrapbooks as inspiration because these are too beautiful. It has to be saved. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to save them.
Joanne is a dear friend of ours who we've known for since 2019, and she really knows what we like. So
thank you, Joanne.
Whenever we see her, she always brings us these spectacular things that we really do enjoy. This is so cute.
Yeah,
Look
this
at
is
that.
very cute.
So cute.
I like the tiny patterns.
Yeah, very, and this is a beautiful.
The way the line goes is really nice. Okay, and then we have a new crochet project out. A new tote bag. We worked on this on the last cruise, and now it's finished.
Yeah, so it's a tote bag design in crochet. It's difficult to see it, but it actually consists of tiny squares that you then crochet together into a design of your choice. So each square is
tiny.
Yeah, I mean, you could show it.
It depends on your tension, but this is the first round.
So this is a square here, and then you've got another square there, and then this is a square. So you crochet each tiny square, and then you start building up your tote bag with all of them. And then somebody had crocheted one of our other bags and
in the
said,
same style.
Yeah, and said the handles were a little bit difficult.
She felt that she spent
more time on the
more
handles.
time on the handle than on the bag. So we're thinking, oh, maybe we should do a different handle then.
So we changed it up.
So this one has a new handle.
Yeah.
So
it's quite easy to make as well.
Yeah, and it's quicker than the other one.
Yeah,
I didn't find the other one, so I didn't spend so much time doing the other one.
But they're quite sturdy. They kind of work. We've done this in a Norwegian wool, or sorry, not a wool. It's
cotton.
It's a mercerized cotton from a company called Solberg Spinneri. Oops, sorry. And it's not easy to get this outside of Norway.
And I don't think they ship either.
But it's done with DK. So you could do summer light DK from Rowan, for example.
Yeah, so in the pattern, we actually suggest something similar from Rowan's because it's easier to find. But you can use any yarn. And it doesn't matter if the bag gets bigger with a thicker yarn or smaller.
No.
So, but it's a really fun project, and these days you need a lot of bags.
So we're going to put this up on our website now. So if you go to arnecarls.com, you can get this bag, the pattern for it on our website. And it's got the pattern for the handles. It's got the pattern for the little squares with great charts that are very easy to read. And then it's got the instructions on how to assemble the squares into the bag, and everything's there. So if you want to do a fun summer project, which actually doesn't take so long, the squares are very quick to complete. You just need a lot of them. This is a great project for
There's a lot of ends you have to weave in, but you can also crochet some of them in. So that's it. That's a new project. We haven't worked on any knitting this week.
No, we've
because
been working.
So much to do.
We've been designing our fabrics mainly, which takes some time. So this has been a pleasure hanging out with you on this Sit and Knit for a Bit, which actually is the last Sit and Knit for a Bit that we're doing before the summer. So
we will be back when? In August?
We'll be back sometime in August. I'm not sure when, but we will notify you. Or suddenly we'll pop up. But we're now taking a vacation from Sit and Knit for a Bit. We will continue to post Sunday episodes. You don't want to miss the supermarket episode that is coming up next week to show you how we shop for groceries in Norway and to show you some of the foods we Norwegians like eating. So, you don't want to miss that. And after that, we'll keep posting episodes regularly on Sundays, every Sunday in July. And in August, and we will be back sometime in August. We will let you know when.
Yeah.
So we do hope that you have enjoyed this episode.
Yes, and if you want to be
no. I say we hope you've enjoyed this episode, and then you need to do that part. Remember?
Oh yeah. But that's
if you like
that's what I was trying.
Okay. Sorry.
If you, as did I say, want to be? If I said if you like the episode, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Or
like and subscribe.
And you can be a subscriber. And if you put yourself on the mailing list, you probably get news before other people.
Right.
Especially if you want to go on the tours, it can be helpful being there.
Absolutely.
Not that we can promise you that you get it first, but how does that work? There's a lot of people who's on the waiting list now.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of people, but you can get on the waiting list too.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. And if you want additional content, we've got a memberships area here where we've got badges. And by the way, we need to do a new badge because our channel has been up for a year now, and we've got some members who have been members for a whole year. So we need to do that.
Maybe we have it when this is out.
Right, yeah.
Hopefully.
So anyway, we've got badges, we've got emojis that you can use here on YouTube in your comments. And there's a lot of additional content. There's live streams with knitting help. There is shenanigans and cooking episodes and all sorts of things that you don't get here on the regular channel that you can enjoy in the members area. So go ahead and take a look at it. You'll find the join button next to the subscribe button here on our YouTube channel. And if you like what you see, you can become a member.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess this is it from now.
I think we have to clean the front porch and paint some rooms and do some gardening.
And the fabrics. So, and I need to put that pattern online as well. So we wish you all a happy summer, and we will be back in August with new episodes of Sit and Knit for a Bit.
But you will see us on Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Toodaloo.
Bye. Take care.